welcome.
Hi.
This is our youth group message for Sunday, July 11th of the year 2021 for our beautiful youth group for Iglesia Presbiteriana, Hispana de Paterson, New Jersey. I am Maria Santa, your lay pastor.
And I am Natalia Cruz, your youth group leader.
And we welcome you to this message today, in which we are going to talk about something that maybe you are familiar with, such as falling onto the floor. But Natalia is going to start us off with a comment that she has for you, a question that she has for you.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard the phrase hitting rock bottom? That you've fallen so far and have dug yourself maybe into a hole so deep that you literally can't go any deeper. You've hit rock bottom.
And sometimes when we hear that phrase, we tend to think of a person that's going through a tough time in life, a person that maybe has made a poor decision, a bad decision, and is now in a situation that has him or her suffering a lot, or in a lot of trouble, or in a situation where they maybe even have lost their freedom, right? And so there are things and choices that we make sometimes that bring us to a place where we feel that we have hit rock bottom.
The lowest of lows.
The lowest of lows, and that the only way is up. Yeah. And so I hope you are not in that situation today, but I also want to tell you that if you are, and you feel that you have hit rock bottom, there is a solution. And there is always light at the end of every tunnel. And I'm going to share with you briefly a brief summary of a Bible text that we can find in the book of John, chapter 5, verses 1 through 15. And in that portion, John writes about a man that had hit rock bottom. It's the story of a man that for 38 years had been on the floor, paralyzed, unable to move by himself, depending on other people to do things for him. And this man was waiting near a pond in a place where people said that when the water in that pond would move, almost like in a whirlwind, anyone that could get in,
the first person to get in,
would be healed from their ailment or their illness or the issue that they had in their body. But because this man was paralyzed and no one around him would help him to get to the water in that pond, every time the water went into that whirlwind, others would trample over him, get in the water first, and he would never make it.
Could you imagine going through that for 38 years? But still having hope that I'll get there one day. The water will heal me. Putting your faith in water.
In the pond,
in
right?
The pond.
Yes. So he had his eyes set on getting there because he thought that he would be healed and could get off the floor from getting into that pond.
He had the right intentions and the faith, but maybe not in the right thing or person.
So Jesus comes along and he asks this man, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? That's what Jesus asks him. And you probably say, are you kidding me? If I were in that situation, my answer is going to be, yes, please heal me from this illness. I want to get off the floor. I have hit rock bottom. And you know what the man answers? He says, well, every time that I try to get into that pond to get healed by the water, I can't, because I can't move on my own. And none of the people around me are willing to help me to get into the pond to get the healing that I need. And Jesus says, get up. Get up, pick up your bed, and walk. And the man does. And the reason for Jesus to ask that question was not to bother the man. It was to force him to take his eyes away from the pond and place them on Jesus.
And what a beautiful thing, right? That the fact that Jesus doesn't just go right away, touch the guy, you are healed, my son, you may go. No. He asked him not only to bring his eyes onto Jesus, but I think Jesus finds what you think is important to him too. If I feel my healing is important and he asks me, is that what you want? It's like when your parent asks you, you want the ice cream? Like, that's what you really want? You say, yes, that's what I want. Can I please? I just need it. I just want it. And they grant it to you because it's important to you. It's also important to him, which I think is a beautiful thing that it's almost like asking permission. Almost like, hey, I can do this. Is it what you want?
And that is a very important question, because healing is a change. So in a way, Jesus was asking this man, after 38 years of being on the floor, lying on that thin bed on the floor, is this what you really want? And he asks that because Jesus doesn't impose and doesn't force anybody, and because change requires that we're willing to go along to make the change along with God's help. And so Jesus also doesn't force people to do anything.
That's the beauty of free will sometimes. It's the beauty and the danger of free will, because you get to choose from everything.
And so when people find themselves in these circumstances, right, when we find ourselves on the floor after we have fallen, just think about it for a moment. When you fall and you're on the floor, your instinct is to get up right away, because you're embarrassed if others have seen you fall. If you have fallen and you can't get up right away, you kind of lose control of your surroundings. You want to get up because things don't seem the same from the floor. You see people differently. You have no control over your movements. When it is an accident and you fall by accident, you really want to get up to make sure you're okay, that you haven't hurt yourself. But sometimes we fall because we build our own obstacles.
Yeah.
We create along the way the things that cause us to trip and fall. And so we have to think about that for a moment. And in listening to the story we just shared, the story doesn't tell us, John doesn't tell us what caused the man to be on that bed near that pond for 38 years. It doesn't tell us. We don't know if it was a decision he made. We don't know if it was something that happened to him. There's more to the story, but that portion of John doesn't tell us. But what's important is that Jesus offered the man a change, a way out of that circumstance. And in putting his eyes on Jesus, the man learned that all along, his healing was not in the water of the pond. That getting better required that he was willing to make the change, and that he found the right person that would help him to do it. And that was Jesus Christ.
So if you feel like you are on the floor, that you've hit rock bottom, there are things that we do have control over, that we can help ourselves get out of that situation or from feeling that way. I made a list. You guys know I like lists. Of maybe there are things that are keeping you on the floor, right? Maybe it's low self-esteem. Maybe it's friends, actions that we've taken, materials that we've acquired, bad decisions, negative thoughts, or sometimes they are uncontrollable circumstances that have kind of pushed us over the edge to fall deeper into whatever hole we are in, or fall into the ground that we are. But if you take one of those things and work on it and turn your eyes towards God instead of the fountain or the pond, I assure you, you will begin to rise.
Part of the lesson behind this story is that sometimes when we are in trouble, when we are on the floor because we are at a very low point in our life, we tend to look to others for the solution. The man that had been on the floor for 38 years was looking to those around him to help him get to the pond. Sometimes we do that. We think that the solution to our problem, or the happiness that we're looking for, or the self-esteem that we want to find, we think we can find it in other people. And sometimes it's not in other people. We have to look inside of us and up and pray and connect spiritually to the source of all goodness, which is the Lord, and work ourselves back to get up onto our feet again. So let's think about not looking to others, not depending on others, not looking to things. The pond was a thing, something that the man thought could help him. Sometimes our help is not in things and it's not in people. It's in us, in the willingness to want to change and to get healed, in beginning to take the steps to do the work, to become better, to make the change with God's help. So this week, think a little bit about that. If you know someone that has fallen and you can help them to get up, do it. Sometimes you don't have to physically bend to get the person up. Sometimes you can pray for someone, or you can listen to them, or you can give them a word of advice, or you can just be present in their toughest moment, and that will help them get back on their feet. And if you feel that it is you who has fallen, know that help is on the way, that God is always on your side and by your side, and that you can get up back on your feet, and that you are capable to get rid of the bed that held you back when you were on the floor. I hope that this story today has brought you some thoughts and some things to think about along the week, and that you are secure and sure that God is with you, walking your path and lifting you up. May God bless you all today. Enjoy this week. We're in the middle of July, and I remind you that we are meeting once again in person as a congregation. We met last Sunday, the first Sunday of the month, in person, and we will be meeting again in person on July 18th. So I invite you to join us if you haven't done so yet, in person once again. And soon, hopefully, we will be back with all the activities of our church, meeting in person every Sunday and planning some fun things that we can do together. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, get up, walk with your God, and may He keep you in the palm of His hand. Take care.
Bye, guys.